Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the south-afrifur podcast. You're listening to myself, Ivik Wolf, here on this beautiful Sunday evening, Easter for some of you, Easter, April Fools for the rest of you, I guess. Tonight, our guest is Trace. He's from, I see a Popka.
I'm from the U.S. kind of.
Yeah.
It's hard. hard
Where
to
in the
figure that
US?
out sometimes.
Sort of Canadian border.
No, well, I mean, because I was born in California, I'm living in Nebraska currently, and I have family in Colorado, and then spent a good part of my early life over in the Middle East. So at a certain point, it's
Sorry.
you tell me
did
where
he
I'm
break up for
from.
you too, Scott?
No, I can hear him. Sorry. Ivik, are you with us?
Oh,
Ivik.
voice connection is terrible for me. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I didn't catch half of that, but it's okay. I'm pretty sure that you caught that, which is great.
Yeah.
So
You left off at the Middle East, essentially. Trace.
Yeah, good part of my early life. I grew up in the United Arab Emirates, which not everyone knows that name offhand. If you've heard of Dubai, Dubai is a city in the UAE.
Yeah. So, and obviously our co-host Scratch.
Yo.
Before we forget about you.
That's fine.
Okay, so I mean, obviously well-traveled, and weirdly enough, I mean, so for those of you guys who don't know about Trace, he's been hanging around with the South African furries quite extensively. And well, I guess one of the first questions with that one.
Try that again. Let's try that again.
I'm my own interference here at this point.
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. So what we would like to know is that how or why did you get involved with the South African furry fandom?
Well, it's maybe only slightly complicated. So it started with, yeah, in the Middle East, in high school, I had a good South African friend that I've kept in contact with over the years. And so, let's see, maybe coming up on a year and a half ago, he introduced me to Badge, actually.
Yeah.
And Badge is, I'm sure a few of you know, is involved with the fandom, and he, got me involved with the fandom.
You poor child.
And so, yeah, kind of ended up with all of these South African furs.
But I mean, with the introduction by Badge, since we are sort of talking about you, he's sitting right next to me. He obviously doesn't know that we're actually talking about him right now. So how exactly did Badge sort of invoke the south-afrifur sort of position onto you? What was his initial way of letting you know about it?
Well, we started out just kind of by talking about the furry fandom in general, and that was kind of actually the turning point for me of deciding, yeah, I guess I'm furry.
Okay.
And then he introduced me to the Zafur forum.
Yeah.
And yeah, just also kind of introduced me to a few other people, and yeah, so have met other people since, and just kind of been hanging around, and
it's been a weird ride.
I guess that's that. Yep.
I could imagine it's, yeah. And obviously you're also involved with a whole bunch of things in the South African fandom as it is. Asbjorn. Hello to Asbjorn. Sorry, he just randomly popped up in my chat box history. So he's here as well. Okay, so yeah, so one of the things that I do want to ask, hey? Tell who I'm sorry. Oh. Badge says that he's sorry for introducing you to us.
Thank you, Badge.
He says thank you. I'm assuming he accepts your apology. and is duly trying to find how to not, like, I don't know, hang himself with the amount of rope that he's given. Okay, so I mean, when you started sort of like involving yourself with a large amount of things with the South African furry fandom, what was your main idea? What was your goal?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess. I guess a good part of it is just. I really enjoy seeing people just do creative things and come up with awesome stuff. You know, related to the furry fandom or not. And I guess I've just wanted to be able to try to support people's projects where they show up. And I mean, I've gotten some great opportunities to do things like that within the South African fandom. And so, yeah, I think that's, you know, I don't know that I initially intentioned it that way, but I guess that's kind of how things have turned out.
So, I mean, and you, obviously, me being a admin on the moderator at that time, on the south-afrifur forum and things like that, like I don't know, like it's a weird ride, isn't it? Like having to sort of jump in and sort of offer help in the kind of way that you do, because the way that you sort of offered help was no strings attached, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, maybe a lot of people are a bit more, I don't know, wary about things like that. How did that sort of like, I mean, I know that you said that you wanted to help people, but I mean, the thing is that, I mean, now currently you're a moderator on the forum. You've sort of, I guess the term would be meteoric rise into the fandom, and as a person of, I guess, interest for a lot of the people here. So what exactly were your, again, what are your plans going forward? What do you intend to try to do with fandom, the South African fandom in general?
Well, I mean, part of what I intend to do is what I've already been doing, just to make friends within the South African fandom. And I mean, that's just been, I've met some fantastic furs and had some really wonderful conversations. And I mean, I think part of it is just having that connection to the outside world, really, where sometimes I feel a little trapped here in the States, just having grown up elsewhere. And you know, there are some parts of the States that just I don't feel like I completely fit in with, you know, or I don't necessarily connect entirely with the American experience. And so just having people elsewhere to kind of help be grounded, I think, is really good. And then as far as South Africa in particular, I've been there once. It was a pretty brief visit, just a few days. It was when I was pretty young, but I've always wanted to go back. I mean, certainly for a visit, but maybe even would consider living there in the future. So I guess just having some of those connections to, just in case anything ever happens, is also something.
Okay. It's it's kind of interesting to sort of say that about immigration and immigration. It's obviously a lot harder for a South African to go to the US, but like, is it easier, do you think, to get from the US to South Africa?
I feel like in some ways it might be. Certainly, I think it wouldn't be as hard for me to just go there, but as far as things like finding a job, I know that the job market in South Africa is not the greatest right now, and so that would be a major hurdle to overcome if I wanted to think about staying there long term.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, yeah, I do think that unfortunately it is hard for people to immigrate to the States a lot of the time, and that's actually a major frustration for me. I mean, this country is built on immigrants, and it seems ridiculous that there have been strides lately to try to make it so that fewer people can come into the States.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
I don't know. Blame your president, I guess, and blame our president as well, just for the fuck of it.
Old one or new one?
All of them.
yeah,
Jesus. What was that?
definitely.
All of them.
I'm sorry. It's
Okay, no worries.
people in
Explosion.
background.
Okay, so, I mean, and it's actually kind of weird, like the amount of furries that are kind of from the States that have actually made it across this side. I know of at least one who is actually a frequenter of the podcast as just like a listener, who Wirchacht, I believe is his name. Who
Bless
sort
you.
of okay. Who he came through to, at that point, spend large amounts of time with his then, at that point, boyfriend.
Mhm.
And then I don't know what actually happened, but eventually he just kind of he stuck around and just been here for the last, was it 2011 to now? So last 7 years he's been in South Africa. He's been kind of,
Wow.
jumping from one job to the other and just been doing his own thing.
Yeah, that's awesome though.
Huh. So it's not very, very difficult. Sudan says that apparently that noise was you, Trace, moving your assault rifle and the ammunition fell over.
It was no, just a roommate getting back.
Okay. So, I mean, with the, and I guess we can probably just move into this, but like you mentioned that there were sort of differences between the South African fandom and the American fandom, and some of the things that you were kind of talking about seemed to sort of allude to the fact that there are certain elements within the American fandom that aren't necessarily that, like, good.
I don't know if I've specifically said that.
Mhm.
I do feel like that's true of, I mean, just about any group really is, kind of, there are always going to be those outliers, especially as a group gets bigger,
Mm-hmm.
of just less desirable people, I suppose.
Okay.
Just people who make trouble for everyone else. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have been getting involved with the fandom here in the States more lately. Like, Kit and I made it to Midwest Fur Fest this last year. It was in December. And then we've also been getting involved with the local community here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it has been kind of interesting just to see maybe a little bit of the differences between the communities, but
Okay.
there's a lot of similarities too.
All right. Do you want to embellish a little bit on that?
Yeah, I guess one thing that I've noticed is that I do feel like within the South African fandom, just because it's relatively small, it's kind of spread out all over the country. Where it's a rather small group, but people are from everywhere. Whereas here in the States, I think people tend to congregate a little more, just based on, what specific region they're in. And so you end up with groups that are just like, the state, for example, or even just a few cities within reach of each other. And you only really see like furs from all over the country when you're at something really big like MFF, where, I mean, speaking of big, that was apparently the largest furry convention that is ever held, has been held to date. And so that was kind of crazy. Sorry, just tangent there.
No worries.
Yeah, I still wouldn't mind seeing something like that. I suppose it's on my to-do list, but yeah, you say?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I would, if you ever get a chance to do anything like that, I'd highly recommend it.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and there've actually been a couple of South African people who've actually gone over that side. If I can remember, Katsutra has gone over, Sudan has gone over.
Bitch.
Shah.
So jealous.
I very, very jealous. Who else has gone over to the States for
Rocket and Taka.
Rocket and Taka.
Umi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. There've been a couple, I think, and we're probably going to forget like who, but I mean, it's been a while since I've heard about those kinds of stories. So,
I mean, if any South African furs are in the States and end up in Nebraska, like, just send me a line. Would totally love to hang out.
I'll definitely try if I can ever get there, but yeah.
How far is Nebraska from, like, is it Ontario?
Ontario? That would be quite a ways, because Ontario is Canada. Nebraska is kind of right in the middle of the country. I mean, it's one state off from the geographic center, I believe.
Okay. Jeez. Wait. Where does Potteries? Because that would be the place that I'd go to.
Camp Farrell.
Yes, definitely Camp Farrell. I would go to Camp Farrell over, like, any of the other conventions.
Well, obviously because we know the guy. Support the little guys kind of thing.
It's not even supporting the little guys, but yeah, go, Trace.
Oh, I was asking, where is Camp Farrell? I don't
Camp
think
Farrell's Canada.
Ontario. The wilderness of Ontario.
Is it Ontario?
Yeah.
Yes!
It's Algonquin Provincial Park, Canada. In Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, I'm guessing that would be either a probably short plane ride or a very long car trip.
That sounds like pretty much everything in South Africa.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done long car trips before, but that would probably be one of the longest I've done, if not the longest.
Yeah, driving from Cape Town to Joburg is no small feat.
How long is the drive?
1,600 kilometers. It's about 1,000 miles.
How many hours does that take?
16 hours.
Excuse me.
If you drive 120 throughout the entire trip.
Yeah, and stop very infrequently. You can get there in about 16 hours.
Yeah, because I mean, if you get there in 10, then you're driving 160.
Yeah, which is illegal.
Yeah.
We don't have an autobahn.
That'd be nice. You'd think with how much you guys pay on the flippin', what's his name?
Tolls?
Yeah, e-tolls line. You'd think the thing would be an autobahn by now.
Yeah, e-tolls are completely, like, that's a farce. Nobody's paid it. Nobody really gives a crap. Well, welcome to Gauteng politics. Hey, we're going to put up these tolls. Hey, we're not going to pay that. You didn't ask us. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, also... also it was like an international company who did the construction and bidding of it, so Yeah, I mean, it's most likely someone got a kickback from not giving it to a local contractor. So
Yeah.
Oh goodness, that sounds like a nightmare on all sides.
Sudan says that you can make it. You can drive 180, just if you don't get caught.
yeah, fair point.
Luckily, with my car, you'll never be able to get to 180.
Yeah,
If it hits 120, it's a good day.
yeah, sort of the same with my car. Like it can hit 180 if it's going downhill, and by downhill I mean in free fall. Yeah, that's about the extent of me racing in my car.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. I found some new things out about like Camp Feral for some reason.
Which is?
Like
yeah.
Farley was Feral's original mascot.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lynx, a gray lynx.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
And then they had a new mascot called Pawnee.
Really?
Yeah.
Pawnee of all things.
Yeah.
I can't hear that name and not think about Parks and Rec.
Pawne.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
In 2010, Pawnee took the character of Jason Voorhees.
Lol. Because of course he did.
Okay. Often a voice of reason. Okay, so we have a mascot now, don't we? Yes, we do.
Did we ever name it?
We haven't given it a name yet, no. Okay, so for those of you who are listening, random thing for you guys to do. In chat, type out names for our Springbok mascot.
For anyone who's been chatting with us on Telegram, you should have seen the sticker pack that's popped up every now and then. With him looking very indignant, going, "I can't believe you've done this."
Where does the cry me a table, Linda, come from?
It's a furry inside, not furry, but it's a south-afrifur inside joke, which involves Badge, as
of course
as
it does.
Often does.
And if it involves Badge, it involves alcohol.
Yeah, and if it involves alcohol, it also involves random memes on the internet. Where randomly, like we found this one meme where a person was misusing, what's the word? Misusing, like, say things. What do you call it?
Idioms,
Idioms.
adages.
Yeah. So adages, whatever. But yeah, so he and the one that sort of popped up was, cry me a river.
Yeah.
But then something table.
But then something table.
And then apparently, like, the misuse was cry me a table, Linda. And so he found himself exclaiming it more than once at the convention. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, around about 120 times.
Mm-hmm.
Count them? Who counted, for starters?
Badge says to you, Scratch, that he takes offense at you slandering his good name. It doesn't always
when he's
involve
perfectly capable of doing it himself.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Moving along from that then. Yeah?
But yeah, I was just going to say I really loved mixed adages.
Yeah.
There's some
What's
trying to remember some of the ones I've heard, like every rolling rock has a silver lining.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is we'll burn that bridge when we cross it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's like a metaphor for my career.
Don't count your chickens before you have all your ducks in a row. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot teach an old dog new tricks.
All kinds of shit like that.
When one door shuts, fools rush in.
I like That's funny. I like taking adages and just sort of twisting them to make them a little bit more depressing.
You
It's
scratch my back and ask me no questions.
I like that one.
That's so furry though.
Yeah.
Don't put all your eggs in the cart before looking a gift horse in the mouth.
Are you just generating them, or did you find them somewhere?
No, I found a list.
Oh God.
Once bitten, talk is cheap.
Why do all of these work?
What? I don't know. 2 wrongs do not make 2 heads better than 1.
God damn it.
What even is this? Okay.
Are you like looking at the list now or something?
Yeah, but I mean, like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Doge asks whether the mascot is male or female. I'm gonna say agender.
Oh.
So
No, there's nothing particularly pushing it to either one side, but I suppose, yeah.
if I don't know, like maybe let's look at, say, traditionally, like non-sexual names. What?
Non-gendered names.
Non-gendered names. Non-gendered names.
Yeah.
Agender names. Yeah.
So like
Sam.
Taylor.
Ashley.
Ashley.
Ashley's agender.
Ah.
A lot more of a female name.
It is.
Halcyon actually brings out a good point in respect to mixed idioms. You can say anything as long as it has the initial part, cry me, and replace the item with anything, and it will still work. I got absolutely gazeboed last night. If I'm not mistaken, that was Eddie Izzard, wasn't it?
Is it?
It was Eddie Izzard.
It could be. I should probably watch more of Eddie Izzard stuff. I've only really seen like his Cake or Death sketch.
Yeah. Cake or death. Cake or death?
The-
We're all out of cake. Yeah? Okay. Doge has one. Doge says Tommy for Thompson's Gazelle.
That could work.
That could definitely work.
Although I refuse to call a Springbok a Thompson's Gazelle because then the British win.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. Sudi says, sorry, Sudi. Trace says Sudi? Sudi? Why Sudi?
I don't know.
Sudi sounds interesting.
South
I kind of like
African.
it.
Sudi.
So, SUD. Zuid-Afrikaans. Then the what do you call it? Then
Then the Dutch win.
Then the Dutch win, exactly that. No, so no.
We're just gonna rattle off all the people that we don't want involved now. Okay, I don't want the Dutch. I don't want the British. I don't want the Namibians. Fuck them.
Sudan. Then also. Oh well, I mean, I guess for Sudi, Sudan. But it's also not a Thompson's Gazelle.
Is a Springbok
Doge
not a Thompson's
says-
Gazelle?
Because of Latin. It's what Sudan drew.
Yeah, but I mean,
Springy from Taka.
yeah, but is that a Springbok? Okay, is another name for a Springbok a Thompson's Gazelle? That's my question.
I don't think that they're related, but they're not.
They might be different species. I'm not sure.
They do look slightly different.
Yeah. Thompson's Gazelle is red-fronted gazelle, also known as Tommy. It is not a Springbok.
Ha.
The Thompson's Gazelle is also more from central. Is that East? Central, Eastern Africa. More towards Ethiopia's side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Springbok, on the other hand, is Antidorcas marsupialis. I have no idea why marsupialis. Is it because it jumps like a
Kangaroo?
kangaroo?
Mayhaps.
Marsupial has suggested it actually would be a marsupial.
Which it is most assuredly not.
Sudan
Last time I
mentions-
checked.
Sudan
Okay,
mentions in
that's
respect to
part of
your.
that's
Yeah?
strange.
It's part of the same tree.
Okay.
Like the gazella, I think is one of the first ones, and there's the blackbuck, red-fronted gazelle, Thompson's gazelle. Then there's Sumering's gazelle, Grant's gazelle, Dama gazelle,
Yeah, so
Gerenuk,
she knows.
and Springbok. Sudan.
What is
Obviously,
it?
I mean, the thing is that Sudan drew the picture. She would know what it is.
Mm.
So I guess we're asking her then.
Yeah, sorry, Trace, you were saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was I was saying.
It was Michael McIntyre. Thanks, Halsey.
What?
Yeah, so, huh?
What's Michael McIntyre have to do with any of this?
Michael McIntyre is the guy who did that thing like Cry Me a Table, Linda.
Okay.
You talk
Who
about
likes
big
that?
stadiums.
Yeah. It has a pouch on its back. When alarmed, it extends the pouch, which contains a puff of fur and alarm display.
Oh, interesting.
All right.
Hence marsupialis.
That makes sense now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's pretty cool. I freaking love zoology.
Hmm.
There's some interest. You learn new things literally every day.
Yes, we do. Just give me a sec.
Don't die. I can hear you.
What? How?
I don't know. Like, is Badge on the call? He's not on the call, right?
No, he's not
Okay.
on the call. But how did you hear that?
It sounded like you were. I still heard coughing. Maybe
like
I
a
have.
high-pitched cough.
No, I don't know.
That's weird. 'Cause I don't think I heard it.
Maybe I just have the gift.
Maybe you just know when I'm sick.
Perhaps. And I'm sick of you.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah, like
you'll get over it.
My goodness. Okay. So one of the things that I want to sort of ask you, right, is obviously you've gotten involved with a publication that's been coming out with the sort of south-afrifur side of things, and I say south-afrifur loosely, umbrella term it, but it's not necessarily south-afrifur linked. Blah 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 blah. I don't want to misrepresent, but you've been working on a publication with, God damn it.
Use your
Give me a
words.
second.
Um,
I'm trying to remember names now. Artie.
Artie Loop.
yep, already
Yes.
looped, and also you.
Loosely connected, but it's not about me. It's about you and working on it.
Yep. Yeah. We've been working on the furry times together, as you know, and yeah, that's been pretty neat. We just came out with the second issue. I wasn't involved with the first one at all, but yeah, it seems like it's gotten a lot of really good feedback.
That's good. I mean, the production quality looks actually pretty good, I have to admit.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Artie did a great job on that.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's been involved with doing similar publications in the past, and so he definitely has a background in that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I mean, he did a great job with the layout, and it is definitely, I think it looks really professional.
Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to like creating new concepts like this and helping out and things like that, what exactly? And again, it's always going to be the question as to where do you intend to go with all of this? I mean, you and sort of Artie seem to be sort of the driving gears behind everything. What's the next step from here? How many more? Like, I know that, like, obviously because I have a little bit of insider information, but the thing is that like how many more episodes sort of publications do you intend to do this year? How many do you intend to do over the next couple of sort of years? What's the plan? What's the major plan?
I think currently we're looking at trying to maintain something like a quarterly schedule, and so
Mm-hmm.
try to release maybe around every 3 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be hard to find the content and time to be able to put something like that out monthly
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or anything like that. But yeah, I think doing it every 3 months does allow us a bit more time to put things together and hopefully make sure that each issue has a lot going for it, while also staying somewhat relevant
Hmm.
and somewhat in keeping with what's going on currently.
Okay. Um, that's pretty good. So with, I don't know, with some of the, obviously they're what's the word, teething pains when it comes to sort of, or growing pains when it comes to creating things like this. Anything that you found that was particularly difficult to get through?
Um, I think um, I think a big thing has just been that currently our team is really small,
Mm-hmm.
and so just finding enough content and just keeping on top of everything,
Mm-hmm.
um, with the few people that we currently have. Um, and so it does seem like more people have gotten interested in being involved since we've released our
Mm-hmm.
latest issue. So hopefully, our team will be a little bigger, and we can think about, yeah, I mean, hopefully just getting bigger and better as we move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
And mhm.
No, just best of luck. I hope that you
Yeah.
guys get you can get the relevant skill sets involved there as well. Like, because I mean, this thing can take off quite well. There's potential
Yeah,
here, definitely.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Hmm. So, I mean, and any other projects that you feel like you want to work on in respect to like the fandom?
No, yeah, I mean, I always have projects I want to work on.
Uh-huh.
um, I know that I've been working on, I mean, just been finding time doing like text-based role plays with people
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. You know, I'd really like to get them to the point where they could be like actual readable stories that I could share with others.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I
so,
mean, yeah. So with respect to the whole writing thing as well, I know that you and Badge have been working very, very hard on some of the things that you wanted to do. How is that actually going?
that's been going really well.
Uh-huh.
We're just about done with one project. We
Mm-hmm.
basically just need to figure out how to end it, and then we need to spend a lot of time going back over it and editing it significantly and cutting out things and adding things to the point where it makes sense and forms a cohesive story. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think hopefully someday in the near future we'll have something that we can show to everyone.
Okay.
Um, and then we've also been starting on a new project lately that we're both really excited about. And yeah, it's been going really well.
Hmm. Okay. So, yeah, s- Badge mentions that it's a glorious, glorious mess.
Yes.
So you're also dabbling in art. Those of you guys who don't know, the um, picture that we've actually used is one of the pictures that Badge drew, but you're also beginning to sort of dabble into art and things like that. Anything that you find to be particularly difficult in respect to that?
Um, I'd say one thing that I've tended to struggle with is just staying consistent in
Mm-hmm.
just doing art, like trying to do it every day, and just keeping on top of constantly making progress and working towards things. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that there are things that I ultimately want to be able to do with my art, and so I've just been trying to improve it and push it to the point where I can um, feel comfortable with where I am enough to be able to start working on some of those.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with, I mean, you've been in the fandom for what? How long now? 3 years? 2 years? One and a half
Maybe like
years?
1.5, 2 years would be
Uh-huh.
my thought.
And I mean, now weirdly enough, and I mean, I'm pretty sure that many people would be able to sort of attest to this idea, but like after a certain time in the fandom, one becomes sort of semi desensitized to a couple of things, or maybe a little bit more despondent in respect to some people's responses. And this is something that I guess everybody sort of goes through. Like
Hmm.
initially, everything's like really, really good and really, really happy and really, really like amazing, but
Yeah.
things sort of go wrong, and well, not necessarily wrong, but they're teething again, like sort of growing pains and then teething pains and things like that. How does one, um, I don't know what would the word be, reconcile that? I mean, you're a very positive person, for instance. You tend to almost exude it from your very being, and that's me being over embellishing about this. But you do seem to sort of have a large amount of positivity about you. Um,
Thank
and
you.
like, I mean, how do you keep that going?
I guess, I mean, I you say that, but honestly, I can be pretty cynical at times, and I guess I just have to be able to try to fight that and be willing to you know to just be able to believe in people, and
Hmm.
um, you know understand that while there are difficulties and arguments, and sometimes things don't go the way that we'd like them to go, that
Hmm.
we can just keep moving forward, and that things can improve over time.
Okay.
And I don't know, does that kind of answer
Hmm.
what you were going for?
No, no, it definitely does. And I mean, Galahad, of course, says, trace, cynical, question mark, scandalous, apparently. Which hashtag can confirm. It's absolutely like it is kind of awkward to sort of sit here and say, like, have you ever felt cynical about things? Of course you have. But I mean, like, you seem to get through it pretty okay. So I mean, like, tips and tricks to everybody else out there would be great.
um, I mean, I don't know that there's really any trick to it. I mean, honestly, yeah, staying positive is kind of hard work sometimes. You just have to be able to just
Suck it up.
no, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think part of it is just being able to understand where people are
Mhm.
coming from when things go wrong, and kind of being able to put aside your own perspective, and
Mhm.
you know go with the just the kind of tired adage of putting yourself in someone else's shoes. But
Hmm.
I mean, it really is true, though. Just being able to kind of step outside yourself to get
Yeah.
perspective on things, I think, can really help with just a lot of interpersonal conflict, for sure,
Hmm.
and in just understanding where others are coming from.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, I mean, obviously, it's been a year and a half in the fandom. What would you say would be your sort of biggest influence in respect to sort of, I don't know, sticking around, like things that you kind of enjoy watching, enjoy doing, things like that?
Um, I mean, so it's kind of interesting. I've been in the fandom, for about a year and a half, but feel like I've kind of always had, you know, ties to the fandom that I just didn't really recognize at the time. Um, where I've always had, for example, I've always been fascinated by werewolves, and that was
Hmm.
just a huge thing for me, like my entire life. And I know that's a big thing in the fandom. And then just kind of noticed going through college, especially, that a lot of my interests increasingly were going towards kind of furry related things, things that weren't necessarily furry in themselves, but just kind of taken as a whole, you start to notice patterns.
Hmm.
um, and so, yeah, I'd say that, just, I guess, in staying in the fandom, it say joining the fandom a year and a half ago was almost less like joining the fandom and more like acknowledging that I was
Yeah.
part of the fandom and
Hmm.
being willing to step into it.
Okay.
Um,
More of a formality
because
than anything else.
yeah, because it kind of feels like to some extent I've always been in the fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
so I mean, I don't know. Does it kind of answer what you were
Yeah.
going for? Is there anything more specific that
Huh.
you'd like me to say? Or...
No, I think that's good.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Okay.
Um. hmm. So, hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Death
That was
becomes them.
it is counted violently.
Mm.
Is
So
it like...
your Sona, um, what
Yeah.
exactly? What? How did you sort of come up with that? I mean, like, I know that it's currently, I don't know, like, why exactly sort of just that? I guess.
Okay. Well, I mean, my persona is a wolf dog, and first getting into the fandom, I knew that you didn't necessarily need a persona to be part of it or anything,
Hmm.
but I think part of stepping into the fandom for me was wanting to be able to come up with that persona and just have that connection. And so, it's something that I was thinking about for a while, and kind of had some trouble settling on. Um,
Hmm.
but I guess you know, ending up going with the wolf dog, um, I guess it just kind of feels like um, it just fits me.
Hmm.
Where like I said, I've always had that fascination with werewolves and wolves in general, and so
This feels like a natural
kind of,
extension of that.
yeah, definitely to some extent for sure. And then I mean, also kind of funnily enough, part of the reason I'm a wolf dog is because of my grandmothers on both sides. My father's mother, her maiden name was Wolf, actually,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and she just always loved wolves and had a bunch of wolf stuff, and so there's kind of that. And then my mother's mother was, I mean, she was just so funny, where she'd claim to be different things, where she'd be sunning herself on on the deck, and when someone asked her what she was doing, she'd say, "I'm a lizard," and she'd stick her tongue out. um, but one thing that my mom had told me that she had said was she had gotten back from like a lunch with a bunch of ladies and was just kind of disgusted with all their gossip and such. She said, "Oh, those ladies are just so catty. I'm glad I'm not a lady. I'm glad I'm a dog."
She sounds like an interesting lady to be around.
Oh yeah, she was wonderful. I wish I'd gotten to spend more time with her, but yeah, I'm glad that I did get the time I did.
Oh, that's so cool.
I mean, that was kind of part of it, and I kind of feel like it just kind of fits my personality as well to some extent, where like you guys have mentioned, kind of that where I try to be optimistic about everything, and like I feel like dogs just kind of have this boundless optimism and enthusiasm that not a lot of other animals seem to match.
Yeah. And
What
definitely
about,
not cats.
like, yeah, exactly. Well, not cats, but what about otters
Or ferrets.
or ferrets?
Yeah,
Where's Rodentia?
I don't know. I've considered so many different animals. Just I love animals in general. You don't understand how hard it was to decide on something specific.
Well,
I still feel like I haven't fully decided.
You could always do like me and just hybrid it out.
Just get all the cats.
All the cats. Yeah. Like, I mean, what was it? There was a point that I was considering putting some blackback jackal into my Sona.
Cats are awesome. Don't get me wrong. Sorry.
Yeah.
Bonding the Sudan.
Yeah. I mean, like, we wouldn't have a cat if it wasn't for cats.
The musical or the creature?
Yeah, no, the creature.
Okay.
Like, in fact, like that was the weird thing about our family. Up until I was 11, we were a house of cat people, always.
And then the dog.
Until I begged my dad for a dog, and then we got this tiny runt of a fox terrier. Who I think she lived until I think she was about 11, 12, and I didn't even get to see her like sort of pass because by this point I'd already moved up to Pretoria, and she was down in the Western Cape still, living on a farm, like farm life. And yeah, the last time I saw her, she was already going blind and deaf. So they eventually they kind of put her out, but nobody actually ever told me about it until I came down one time and I'm like, "Where's Julep?" And they're like, "She's been gone for a while, dude." I just sat there going like, I don't know how I should feel about this.
No.
I wish I could. Yeah, yeah.
It's for the better.
I don't know. Losing pets is really hard.
Yeah.
Because, think back to when I first got to college, I had found out that my tortoise had passed away.
Oh.
Just like right after I had left, and
Oh damn.
yeah, no, he was at the time he was actually older than either of my siblings, and so yeah, that was just kind of crazy. I mean, I think that we knew that he was not doing the best, where he had some nutrient deficiencies, I think, and such, but yeah, it was still kind of a shock.
Oh, still, I suppose if you lived that long, then it's at least a half decent life.
Oh yeah, I think he did pretty well. Certainly better than a couple of the other tortoises that we had previously, where they died, I think, probably within a year, unfortunately, because they during the winter they had tried to hibernate, and there was just no real way for them to do so. We had them like inside in a big box of sand basically. And so we had solved that problem with our latest tortoise by getting a heat lamp.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
That
that's
must
good.
just push the electricity bill up, though.
oh, I mean, it was basically just a regular lamp
Ah,
with a
Okay.
like ancient light bulb
Oh, okay.
that got hot.
I could imagine. I'm pretty sure that all of you guys just sort of spent the vast majority of the time just standing by the heat lamp.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was back in the UAE, so it usually
Ah.
didn't get cold.
Okay. So Galahad asks, did you have something else to sort of?
Oh no, I was just about to say I wanted to
Okay.
address this.
So Galahad asks, is there a story behind your Sona's red bandana, or is it just a stylistic choice?
I mean, I don't know. The big reason that my persona wears a bandana is because I wear one in real life. It's just something that I've started doing over the last year or two,
Mhm.
and yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of been my thing. Yeah, I'm wearing one currently, not a red one, but yeah,
But
I do
sporting it
have
nonetheless.
a bunch of red ones though.
Okay.
That's cool.
So. Mhm.
Yeah, if what's his name? If Freddy from the Scooby Gang can pull it off, then
Yeah, ascots,
Yeah.
man.
Fred with the ascot.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, actually, there was that one Scooby-Doo from the rebooted series.
Mm-hmm.
There was that one Scooby-Doo episode which involved like two people fawning over each other's ascots. It was like Fred and yeah, and I can't remember the other one, but the two of them were literally just sort of like going like, "Hey, nice ascot," like blah 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 blah, and like these very very thinly veiled like sexual advances towards one another in respect
Oh
to like,
god.
when it gets too hot, the the neck can swell a little bit, and it doesn't necessarily fit as well. I'm just sitting there going like, the fuck.
It's
I
supposed to be a
don't
kid
think
show.
I've seen that episode.
You need to see it. It's absolutely amazing.
That's pretty crazy. I freaking love Scooby Doo though. That was
Yeah.
actually, that was probably one of my gateways into the fandom. Was just growing up. That was like my show.
Old Hanna-Barbera cartoons in general, I think, are a lot of
the
people's.
old Hanna-Barbera, but yeah, especially Scooby Doo.
Mm.
It's just huge for me.
Speaking of I saw it. I watched it over the weekend. There is a Scooby-Doo Supernatural crossover, where was it Dean and Sam? I think that's what they're called. I don't watch Supernatural, but yeah, like they get sucked into a cursed episode of Scooby-Doo. It's actually not bad if you just sort of take the differing tones of the show into consideration, but yeah,
That is so funny. That does sound fun though.
yeah, and like halfway through the episode, the Scooby Gang has this like weird existential crisis. Like it's honestly, it's super funny. I think it's well worth watching. Like,
Yeah, I should figure out some way to find that.
I think it should be on Netflix, or is Supernatural on any streaming service?
I don't actually know. I
Like
don't do.
Netflix or something. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Mm.
So is it a Supernatural episode? That you're
Yes.
in it then?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a Supernatural episode. I don't think it's specifically a Scooby-Doo episode.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because yeah, it's hard to tell with crossovers.
Yeah.
Which show it's going to appear in. Okay, Galahad just said can't beat the Scooby-Doo Johnny Bravo crossover.
Oh yeah, that was
I
great.
have to agree. That episode is
That
fantastic.
was amazing.
I freaking love that.
Huh.
My
Yeah.
glasses. I can't see without my glasses. My glasses. I can't be seen without my glasses.
Yep. So Asbjorn, this is intense. Asks a particular question: losing a pet or having to take care of a chronically ill one, which is worse?
Yeah.
Just found out my dog will need to be on anti-inflammatories indefinitely, or until we can afford an operation.
Oof.
I'd say it depends on how much. It depends on how much pain the dog is in. I think would be my way of saying it. If it's okay on a day-to-day basis, I'd do whatever it takes
Yeah.
to sort of, I don't know, keep them as fine as possible to ensure that they don't endure any kind of suffering. But if it does, I guess, become too much, and that's, you know what, weirdly enough, now this sort of leads me to a question on euthanasia.
Oh joy.
On a very human sense as well, but I'm not going to get into that. But the thing is that, like, if we're going to do this for, you know, pets and things that we love like that, why can't we do it for other people?
Yeah.
That's, I'm going to leave that one there. If you guys want to talk about it in chat, you're more than welcome to. I just really don't want to. Like, at least not here. I don't think this is the right platform for it. But Sudan then says, did any of...
No, just it's a difficult discussion.
That's
for
a
sure.
very difficult discussion. I know what I would do, but that would be, yeah.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
That is my opinion, yeah. But it's an opinion that I will hold to my own deathbed. Just don't. I don't. Any case, did any of your tortoises have katanas?
Not that I'm aware of.
Or sais or bow staves or nunchucks.
Or yeah.
No, I don't think any of them were ninjas or mutants for that matter.
I'd still go for samurais. I'd be happy with samurais.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
well.
Sudan mentioned something about pets can't leave you an inheritance, and I disagree, because there was a tree, and I think Badge told me the story. There was a tree in Britain that, for its inheritance, was given its own freedom and its own patch of land. And eventually, lightning struck this tree. And the thing is that they couldn't build there either. Yeah, the tree belonged to itself. That's pretty much what happened. Like, it was given its own freedom by the dying wish of another man.
Okay.
So they didn't chop this tree down at all. The tree was then struck by lightning, and people thought, well, I guess this is the end of it. The tree has died. And problematically is that it left behind a seedling. So by virtue of inheritance, the tree's baby gets its own freedom as well, and they still can't build there.
But
That's
is a tree a legal entity?
If it's given its own legal sort of entity in life, then I believe it should be its own entity.
It's a legal ent.
Aha.
Shut up, you love it.
Bro, just leave. I don't want...
Another bombshell.
No, we're not even done yet.
Sorry.
Yellhead, I don't think any of my tortoises were trained by a rat.
But
What's
if
the
you
point of
could
having
get a
turtles?
rat, yeah, exactly. If you could get a rat and your tortoises to get together, would that be something that you would sort of move towards doing? I mean, what's it? If you look at linguists these days, they're training, apes to begin to communicate in particular ways. They've tried it with parrots before. Why not turtles? Why not tortoises?
Because of
I have
many.
nothing against tortoises.
I think mechanically speaking, that might be a little bit difficult.
I mean,
Parrots can mimic.
rats
Yeah, parrots can mimic speech. Apes have hands, so they can still do the whole sign language thing.
But we train rats to go through mazes.
Yeah, but they don't.
Why isn't the next step the next logical one? teach rats.
Not to split the infinitive?
Exactly.
Fuck, dude.
and also to wield like weapons and things like that.
I mean,
Someone-
like, rats
Yeah.
do have, like, kind of little paw hands. They can grab stuff.
Is it? Why? For some reason, you're talking about like human type grabby hands, and now for some reason I can't get the image of a raccoon wielding nunchucks out of my head.
Exactly. They did it with Rocket. Come on now. Come on.
There's a lot of a lot of animals that have like weird handy kind of forepaws like that, like otters as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Galahad and Sedan seem to be having a pun war.
I'm missing out.
Oh goodness. So
I need
out of
to sift
the
through the
good
gold.
ones,
Yeah, I need to sift through the gold quickly.
after the entity depends on where was there a treaty signed on the subject. What branch of the estate law is that? Maybe we should leave the subject. We'll get to the root of this one in no time. Bark is worse than bite.
Oh god.
TIL, it's logical for linguistics to begin training. Yes! I want a chatty weapon-wielding rat.
Yes.
I want Twitch. Yes, I want Twitch. I want Twitch to be a thing.
I want to see this. I would like to meet your chatty weapon-wielding rat companion.
Give me about 50 years and a large amount of radiation.
Who is
Yeah.
Twitch? Do I know who Twitch is supposed to be?
Twitch is a League of Legends
League of
character.
Legends.
Oh right.
Yeah. Oh, that thing that I don't play.
Oh yeah, that thing I don't care about.
Yeah.
League and Dota are both too toxic. I'm staying away from them. I love watching it,
Well, I mean,
but yeah.
But you like Rocket,
Oh, what?
like Rocket Raccoon, right?
Yeah, but
Rocket
that's a completely different entity. Like it's
Yeah.
I don't like League and I don't like Dota because I don't like those styles of games. That's where I was getting at.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Copious amounts of funding for the experiment would obviously be useful.
Mm-hmm. Give me money. I'm trying to irradiate animals and not have them die of, I don't know, leukemia. It's got to be that one in a thousand that mutates into something useful.
I mean, look. I mean, if they put together so much money for the freaking Large Hadron Collider, why don't they just give me like a little bit of cutback in respect to making like genetically mutated rats?
Because I'm pretty sure that the what's his name, the secret the little secret objective, the hidden objective of the LHC wasn't to actually create furries.
Well, of course it was.
No, it wasn't. If anything, it was to like smash things. It wasn't to create anything. It was to smash things. Smash.
Do they smash? Do they? I mean, well, like, what have they tried throwing together right now? Like, just atoms?
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
I
that's-
think it's mostly been like things at like the atomic level, maybe in the molecular level, but I'm not sure.
yeah.
What happens if you put something in between the two things that get smashed together?
That would just essentially be the same as smashing something together at a lower speed, I suppose. Like it's not gonna fuse together. Because that's not fission. That's nuclear fusion, and that's what makes the sun work.
Yep.
So in other words, we can create like if you put a rat in there, would you be fusing it with something new?
You'd be spinning the thing around at a mass. I didn't even think it would spin. It's magnetically powered, so it's not necessarily gonna be able to. Yeah, I think you're just gonna either bombard the thing with radiation and kill it, or it's somehow gonna pick up speed and that, I don't know, hit a wall, and you just have to like scrape rat paste off of the thing.
Oh,
Badge,
no.
Badge said that you'd get rat flavored light.
I think Bill Bailey did a skit like that at some point. It's like, like you just throw like useful things into the Large Hadron Collider, like a walnut whip and a cockroach, like fuse them together, and then you have like a like a nut flavored praline candy that can survive a nuclear holocaust. I love Bill Bailey. He's really cool. He's really good.
I'm sorry. Okay.
You enjoyed that one, huh?
I'm done.
Okay.
Mankind has made massive advances in power generation with the use of rats. Rat flavored light. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Okay. Excuse me while I wait.
You okay?
I know. I think he's still getting over it. Whenever his mic clicks off, he's either coughing, dying, or laughing himself to death. Still? Sheesh. But yeah.
Yep.
Welcome back.
Okay. Hi.
Welcome back.
Maybe what may have been a couple in the Large Hadron Collider. We just need to wait a few more decades to see what crawls out of it. Good. Yeah, fair. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I mean, like we could start smaller, like roaches, like you said, or we just throw two roaches at one another and see what happens.
I guess you're gonna be scraping something over the inside of that thing.
Sure. Ooh. Halcyon asks for you, Trace, to entertain us with a musical number.
Oh goodness.
I didn't know you could sing. Do you sing?
A little bit.
Ooh.
Not really in any professional capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wouldn't know what to sing. I can't just sing on demand, really.
What's your favorite song to sing in the shower?
Oh goodness, I don't know. I have a lot of trouble with favorites. You don't understand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your current favorite thing to sing in the shower?
I don't know. I'm trying to think what even was the last thing I sung in the shower. I don't actually sing in the shower that often.
Yeah. Is that something people do? I've never done
I
that.
sing in the car more often, really.
I sometimes hum in the shower, but that's for a completely different reason.
Moving along swiftly.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Sing.
Yeah. I was singing the Pink in the car this afternoon.
Ooh, which Pink song?
That new one. What About Us? I think.
Okay.
Is that what it's called?
No, I'm not singing that, Sedan.
I'll play that later.
Whatever it is, no.
Oh goodness.
Bohemian Rhapsody, says Halcyon. Speaking of which, we still haven't really gotten a name for our mascot yet.
We'll think about it. We'll think of something.
Yeah.
I'll bring it up at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Is this real? Or is this fantasy? Caught in the landslide, no escape from reality. And that's all I got for now.
Lies
Look up to the skies and see. Fuck, that's whenever someone starts singing that song, it's impossible to not sing with.
Oh my god. Oh, great. Yeah.
Little low. I think the timing is just.
That song.
Yeah, and I think that the timing discrepancies are just gonna suck, though.
I could just imagine what this sounds like. We're all singing to a different tune. Badge has to tell me just how bad this is. It's terrible.
Well, you're hearing my broadcast, so I'm like, if I can keep time, then then it should be okay. You have to sing in key with me, haha.
Haha. So Badge's ears are bleeding.
Oh, please.
No.
I'll let you go.
Okay.
Let me go.
Okay. Far be it from me to tell other people to calm down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just had a 2 minute off-air laughing spree.
Yeah, well, I still did it off-air. What else can you tell us? How was MFF?
MFF was fantastic. We got to meet some really cool people. We got to meet. I know some people that you've had on the show before,
Tempo.
Tempo, yeah, and I think. Have you had Kyle Gold on before?
Yes.
Yeah,
we have.
We got to meet him, and Tempo and Kyle are both really cool. Also got to meet some authors of webcomics that I really like Tracy Butler, who does Lackadaisy.
We've been trying to get her onto the show.
She had a booth, as did Chu, who does Slightly Damned. And we got to meet her too. Actually, we were able to get badge commissions from Chu.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was fantastic.
Nice.
I mean, MFF, just seeing furries everywhere was amazing. Just so many suits, and so many of them are just absolutely gorgeous. And it was just really cool being constantly surrounded by a sea of fur.
I'm wondering about that. I could imagine the shedding.
Ugh.
I mean, I don't think suits shed that often, really. You'd imagine that, IRL, though, that would be a huge issue.
Yeah.
It'd be worth it, though.
Yeah, it would totally be worth it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I could imagine you just stealing a swatch from every fursuit that you hug. Eventually, just creating your own zombie fursuit from 5,000 other suits.
Like a literal patchwork suit.
The ultimate hybrid.
Yes.
This patch came from a deer that was pink. This patch came from another deer that was neon green.
I stole. This is my pride and joy. I stole this one off of telephone. Don't tell her. Shh.
I actually got to get a picture of telephone.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I got a hug from her too.
People in suit and out of suit. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you had the experience of seeing both. How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty neat. I didn't really see a lot of people transitioning between, being in suit and out of suit. I mean, I know there was a fursuit lounge that was apparently really crowded the entire time, and so they only let fursuiters in there.
Yeah.
Where people could take stuff off and cool down and such.
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it was really interesting. Just just seeing a lot of suitors, but then a lot of people out of suit as well, and occasionally seeing like the same person in and out of suit, like I think of one of the hosts of one of the panels that we went to. It was a take on Whose Line Is It Anyway? If you've ever watched that show. They called it Whose Lion Is It Anyway? But it was a fantastic panel where all of the hosts were up on stage and basically just doing improv comedy, and they had audience members participate. It was two different events. So one of them had the audience participation, and the other they just had a bunch of guests on.
If I'm not mistaken, Jake Bunny should have been there.
Was he?
I'm not sure. I know that he spoke about Whose Line Is It Anyway.
Was he at MFF?
I think he might have been. He's been to like.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was. I mean, there were so many people there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, what I was going to say about that was that the first one with the audience participation, one of the hosts had her suit on, which is a great suit too. It was I think an African wolf dog, or an African wild dog. Sorry, African wild dog suit. And then the second one she was out of suit, and so that was kind of interesting, just seeing like that.
Seeing the contrast, yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine it must be quite sort of, I wouldn't call it jarring, but it must be a bit of a shift. Like, there's always the joke floating around, but like it destroys the magic. But that's kind of the great thing about being able to do stuff like that. It is that you can be one person at like in suit and a completely different character out of suit, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's actually something that I've experienced more online, really. Where when I was first getting into the fandom, there was kind of that just desire to not spoil the magic, and so I almost didn't really want to get to know people in real life. Just kind of was content with everyone being fuzzy things on the other side of the screen.
Yeah.
But I think as things have progressed, I think I've gotten past a lot of that, and really enjoy getting to know people as humans, as their human selves as well. And just it's been really good to be able to know people in that capacity.
Yeah. So I just shared something that I needed to share on the Furry FM live chat, which was my housemate was joking about me having an affair with someone, but she got stuck on a gender-neutral word for mistress and master and said mattress. I managed to choke badge. Just give me a second. I just wanted to give him the proper time to cough.
Oh god, mattress. Like, it gives a completely different.
Imagine like a fancy maid or butler. Yeah. Welcome home, mattress.
Gives a complete. Yeah, I've been going around like seeing these mattress wholesalers like completely blind. I've never thought of that.
It's definitely where you would have an affair.
It's a front. It's a front.
Mattress for sale. Has a oh wow. Okay.
There's like sort of mattress depots have like a back section that you can only sort of access by asking the guy like really nicely. It's like,
Yeah.
can I see the back collection? Can I see what's in the back?
Okay. I think that's yeah.
Oh, just that reminds me of we just a road that we drive on frequently here. Just some of the shops have like neon signs and such, and sometimes they'll just like half of the sign will go out or something.
Yeah.
And so one of the ones that we'd noticed in the past, and it was like this for the longest time, was Mattress Firm is the name of the place, but the rest part was gone, and so it just said Mat Firm.
Yeah.
I guess.
And there's also the like there's so many like steakhouses and something go by the name of some permutation of the name Black Angus, right?
Yeah.
Like if the G goes out on that thing, then you have a completely different store.
It's the best way. I
Is
don't
it?
know what I'm saying.
Yeah, like is that really something you want to go down, like a road that you want to?
I don't want to go down that either. I mean, like, seriously.
Cool, then be quiet.
Okay.
How much rope are you gonna give yourself? Seriously.
I have enough rope to give myself at least 3 hangings by now.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely seems like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the entire podcast down with me.
Taking you down with me.
Hey guys, you want to hang?
God damn it!
Ta-da! Yeah.
Now just now horrible memes have popped into my head.
Oh no.
Yeah. Like one of those oh shit memes.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'll take it off air.
Yeah, sounds like an idea. I think on that bombshell.
I don't want any viewers to call social services on me or anything.
Yeah. Why social services?
I don't know. Suicide prevention, whatever, that kind of things.
Yeah, because apparently we're just, advocating it.
I'm just dying for it. And on that bombshell.
Yes, on that bombshell, I think.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you all for joining us. Obviously, there will still be music being played after this. So if you guys would just hold on for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, we'll be getting that up and running for you. Obviously, those of you guys who know how this works, there is a button at the top in respect to the playlists and things like that, but obviously only have a look at that as soon as Matthew Ebel starts playing. It'll be under the requests button. We'll open up a separate thing. You'll be able to see my playlist, and then you'll be able to get music off of that. Beyond that, you can obviously request other music as well. I already know that I have some music that has already been requested by now. Sudan, thank you very, very much for that. We'll be playing that throughout the evening. And yeah, thanks again for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for...
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I was going to get to you. Thank you, Trace, for...
No, sorry.
we're not just forgetting you.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to me.
What a glory hog.
But yeah, thanks Trace for being on. We really do appreciate it. We'd love to have you on again at some point.
Yeah, anytime.
Because this was actually pretty fun. And yeah, it was a great having you on, and we really do hope to hear from you again soon. Obviously, we keep in touch via Telegram, and yeah, I mean, if there are any projects that you want to sort of just randomly talk about, you're more than welcome to. If there's anything that people should have a look out for, anything that you want people to talk about.
I mean, not currently, but hopefully soon. Well, I guess you can check out the Furry Times right now.
Oh, right, yeah. I don't have a link available to me. If you have it
Um,
available to you, you can just pop it
yeah,
into
I
chat.
I can post it in the chat.
Sweet.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, nothing really currently, but hopefully in the future I will have more stuff I can talk about.
Awesome.
No doubt.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody once again. Yeah, Ivy, you're gonna take over music from here, and then we shall see you guys next weekend, correct?
Yeah. Next weekend, crap, now I have to remember what my scheduling was.
Or we can just leave it a mystery.
No, I know exactly what our scheduling is. Next weekend is a bumper, actually. It's something that I've been talking about to myself for a long period of time. Do keep an eye out on our Twitter feed. That's south-afrifur. I think it's south-afrifur, isn't it? I think so. Yeah, south-afrifur, or at south-afrifur. You can have a look for us there. Just keep an eye on there for to be able to find out what which guests we have in store for you next week. Yeah. But yeah, keep an ear out, keep an eye out, and try not to lose either of those. But yeah, so we'll be having that coming up soon. We also have a couple of promotional things. Scratch, I need to give it to you at some point because Babura shared it with me over the weekend that we can just tack onto our videos from now on.
Oh, lucky.
It's a really, I think I might have sent it to you. I'm not sure if I did.
Don't think you did.
I think I sent it to Winchester. I think
Maybe.
I did.
I don't know.
I didn't. I did. It is there. So if you can possibly tack that onto the front of our videos from now on.
Yeah. There's the link.
Yeah. Sweet.
Sorry.
Thank you for posting the link. Those of you guys who haven't seen the Furry Times link yet, it's furrytimes.co.za. Have a look at that, and it's your connection is not private.
Somebody needs to sort the certificates out.
My certificates?
No, just in general, like for the site.
Yeah. Anywho, we'll see you guys next week. Do keep an eye out on our social media from, I think about Wednesday would be safe. Have a look over there, and then you'll be able to see who our guest for next weekend is. And sweet. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you everyone for listening, and happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah. Happy Easter.
However you
Thanks
observe
again
it.
for being. Yeah. For those of you who observe it, yes.
Okay.
I like to observe it from a distance.
Yeah. I like to observe it from bed, sleeping.
Yes.
Instead of getting up at 5. But yeah. Anyway, bye.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.